everyone, and welcome back to my sewing room. I am Maria of Historical Belle, and thanks for stopping by my sewing room today. I am very excited to show you this project that I have done about making a men's Roman tunic. Lucky also thinks it was fantastic. You loved shedding on it, didn't you? Yes, you did. So, several years ago now, I made myself some Roman garb for a homeschool day at the museum I worked at, and we were going to a summer event for the SCA, or the Society for Creative Anachronisms, and I thought, it's hot. My husband needs something to wear. He only has this wool tunic. I think this was just our 1 year anniversary event, because our first event was Spring Crown List of 2023. So this would have been Spring Crown List of 2024, and it gets so blazing hot here in the South. And there's kind of a joke within the SCA that everyone becomes Greek or Roman in the summer. Something with a Mediterranean climate, where some type of clothing that allows for all of us not to pass out of heat exhaustion. So my husband did not necessarily ask for this, but I really decided that he needed some Roman garb to wear, because he is already just such a hot-natured person. He needed this. He did. And he loved it after. He was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm never taking it off. I'm only wearing this to summer events. I was like, maybe I should make you another one of those. But anyway, I am getting ahead of myself. I need to show you how I made it before he could never take it off again. So I decided to make this, a few days before an event, because that's the best time to decide to make a thing. And I didn't have fabric, so I had to go get fabric. So this was at a time where I could actually still go to Joann's and get the fabric. I got a linen blend, because it's cheaper than just the plain linen. So I got this linen blend, and I had found this awesome, it was like almost like a twill tape, about yay big, and it was red, and I'm using it for trim. But I had gotten that like the week before, and I just, hadn't really thought about getting the fabric. So I did plan this slightly in advance, but also it was a little bit of a last minute project. So making this like the week before an event, you know how it goes. Thankfully, this is a super easy thing to make, so that's great. Of course, when I went to Joann's, I did get sidetracked and did not just immediately get fabric and go home and start sewing. No, they had a pattern sale, so of course I had to look at the patterns and get those patterns. And then I went home, and then I serged the edge with my broken serger, but it was still good enough to not unravel. And then I washed the fabric, and then I could start sewing it. It's a whole process. Oh, also, if you like my shirt, you can go get one for yourself. It was at PageWing. They sent them to me. This one and a couple other ones that I posted over on my Instagram, and they are super duper cute, and I really like it. So if you want to get one, links in my bio or in the description box. That's what we call it over here on YouTube. I know, Lucky. We just have too many platforms. So here is my nice washed linen blend fabric that I have laid out in my sewing room. I have laid it out like a hamburger, not a hot dog. That means that we folded the fat way. So I will not actually have to sew a shoulder seam. I will just have to sew some side seams. I ended up buying, I think, 3 yards of fabric, and I only really needed 2, because I measured from my husband's shoulder all the way down to right below his knee. And then I'm making sure that goes all the way across the same measurement, because linen can get a little persnickety and not always be the same length. So measuring that out so it's the same on both ends and in the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut off that excess, which I think I'm going to make into a medieval veil for later. I'm just going to pin the side seams. I'm going to make sure that I have measured 10 inches down, which is going to be the armhole. And then I'm just going to pin all the way down. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And then that's it. This is a pretty simple garment. It is a rectangle. It's great. I will have to create a head hole, and I will show you how I did that in a little bit. But really, that's that's it. We got side seams, we have a neck hole, and we're going to hem it. And then also add some fun little things for later, some trim. I'll show you about that as well. I'm going to be sewing this by machine. I don't have time to hand sew it. Like I said, I made this just days before the event, and no one's going to see it. These are all inside seams. So I'm just going to sew it with my machine. With Lucky's help, I decided to hem the arms as well. Now, I did not need to do this because this is on the selvage edge on both sides. So I didn't need to do this to stop unraveling, but I just decided that it would look nicer if I did. So I just pinned in a little bit, and again, I don't need to do this to stop it from unraveling. I'm just doing it for looks. So I only folded it once. I didn't do a double fold hem. I just did a single fold hem, and then I stitched it down on my sewing machine. Up next, it is time to make that neck hole. My husband's head needs somewhere to go. He can't just wear this. So I folded it in half to find true center, marked it with a little snip, because that is going to be the center of my neckline. I then used one of his t-shirts that he likes to wear. This one's actually from Orange Beach, one of our favorite beaches to go to. And I just used that t-shirt neckline as a guide for how wide and also how deep the dip of the semicircle needs to be. So I marked that out with some pins and then measured it just to make sure that I had it all center and it was all going to line up correctly. You know, measured twice, cut once, and then I cut it out. So I cut the slit first to see if that would work just straight across if I needed to make any little rounded bits. And yeah, I didn't really need to do a whole lot of rounding for this. I didn't make it that deep. I just kind of cut the slit across, and then I I rolled the front hem and the back hem down for that neckline, because this is not on the selvage edge. It is going to unravel. So when I rolled it, it kind of created a little bit of that dip that we kind of think about when we do necklines. And then I hand sewed this because I had rolled it. It wasn't going to machine sew super great. And also it's a very, very visible line of stitching. It's right by somebody's head. So I wanted it to look a little bit more authentic. So I went ahead and I just did a hem stitch along this hem of the neckline. And then the event was upon us, and we were on our way to the Kingdom of Meridies Arts and Science Fair, as well as the Kingdom Crown List. So the Arts Festival happens on Saturday, and then Crown List happens on Sunday. I wanted to make something to enter in the Arts Fair, but I didn't have time to. My husband entered this super cool cloak pin. That was awesome. But I spent most of my Saturday just adding this twill tape to the garment. And basically I made this to look like the red stripes that would have been woven into the fabric. These would have been called clavi or clavi and would have been worn by a high-ranking official. The larger your stripes, the higher ranking you are. Now, I could not find linen that had these red stripes perfectly woven right at the shoulders. So I used this twill tape and I thought it looked really good. I liked it a lot. It looked authentic to me. Had that like authentic feel without it being truly authentic because I can't weave my fabric at this time. But maybe that's something I could do in the future. That would be really awesome. Anyway, I just used a little hem stitch to sew on this twill tape. And here is my husband wearing his outfit. He loves it and refuses to take it off all summer. So I think I did a pretty good job. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to my wonderful Patreon members who support me and make projects like this possible. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something.